all this, we discussed that always floating point, I mean, fixed point representation may not be a good option, right? So if we want to have the flexibility in the number of digits, decimal digits we are able to represent, can be adapted, depends on the application, and want to reduce the uh, round of errors introduced, all that, then one option is the floating point representation. And we also started discussing how do we represent a number in a floating point representation, right? We discussed the format of a single precision representation, which is of using 32-bit, right? So I share the presentation. Are you guys able to see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So in single precision, I just brief on this, and then we go for discussing how to use the single precision representation. Then what is the problem in it, and what other format we can use, all that we will discuss. So in single precision representation, what we do is we use a 32-bit to represent the Monesh Kumar. Monish, Monish, are you there or not? Monish, are you there or not? Monish. Sanjana. Sanjana.
I had some network issue.
Okay. So in case of single precision, we have a 32-bit number, and in that 32-bit number, from the LSB, we use 23 bits to represent the matrica, and the MSB bit to represent the sign of the number. And if the MSB is 0, it indicates that the number is a positive number, and if the MSB is 1, it indicates that the number is a negative number. And remaining 8 bits we use for representing the exponent for the scale factor, right? And to accommodate both the positive and negative representations, we have, instead of using that 8-bit assets, we are going for the excess 127 representation, so that we can accommodate the when we say floating point, this decimal, I mean the binary point, you should be able to shift in any direction you want, right? So in that case, you should have the freedom here to represent both positive as well as the negative exponent. Okay, so to accommodate that, we are making this as an excess 127 representation. Okay, so now we have a number here, right? Considering this is a proper single precision representation, right? You find out what exactly the value is, right? And then we discuss. Maybe you take 1 or 2 minutes to find out how do we represent this value, and then we discuss. And even after 15 minutes, only 46 students joined. What's the problem? Representatives?
No idea.
And representative also, I know Divya and Gokul. Who are the other two representatives?
Excuse me, Soumya.
Okay, Soumya. Soumya, I know. I mean, I know you, but I don't remember that you are representative. Who is the one more boy representative? Who's the one more boy representative?
It's Ashish.
He is not in the meeting. Ashish Kumar. No, that's some other class.
He's not here for now.
Okay, do the problem. Will and I need the answer. Once you have done, please let me know. Ashish and Surya. Ashish and Surya. Ashish and Surya.
Hello, ma'am.
Who is speaking? Ashish or Surya?
Hello. Ma'am, this is Ashish, ma'am.
What took so long for you to join, sir? After 20 minutes almost.
Ma'am, my health is not nice, ma'am.
What is not nice?
Yeah, from 2
What?
days. Vaccination. Due to vaccination, I have health issues, ma'am.
Health is not okay. And Surya?
I don't know.
No, I'm asking him only, not you. He joined with you now.
Oh.
So have you guys done converting how the value will be? Rohan, can you tell me the answer? Rohan Chandrasekhar. Yes, sir. Can you give me the answer? Rohan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, can you give me the answer? What about the sign of the number?
Sign of the number will be, so it's 0, right, mom? So it'll be negative.
Will be positive or negative?
If it's 0, wait, mom.
If it's 0?
If it's 0, it's positive, mom.
Okay.
Sorry.
So after the positive sign, what do we write next? I told you it's a normalized number which is of a proper single precision format. So in that case, what should be the next bit we are supposed to have here?
So the next bit should be E, mom, E dash.
Oh, E dash will come for scale factor. What will come here for the value? And it's a normalized number. What's the difference between a normalized number and not normalized number? Any of you can tell me?
Value will be between 0 to 1.
Value will be, Prashant, I think.
If it is normalized, then it won't be above 1.
If it is normalized?
It won't be above 1. The magnitude won't be above 1.
Magnitude will be, I'm not hearing it clearly, Prashant. Can you repeat once again? Sorry.
No, the value won't exceed 1.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a non-zero value when we say that the number is a normalized number. So in that case, naturally you have only option in binary is 1, right? If it's in decimal or some other number format, non-zero value can be multiple numbers, I mean different numbers, but here your only possibility is 1. Okay, so it's plus 1 point. After that, what will come, Rohan? Rohan, after that, what will come? Yes. Say, I didn't hear you properly. Rohan.
Yeah, mom, can you hear me?
Yeah, what will come next? After the sign and then the normalized number, we have the binary point.
So then after that, it'll be 2 power 3, right? Like 2 power minus 6.
Without completing the Mantissa, how can you straight away go with the exponent values and the scale factors, right? The format itself, like for everyone, I'm repeating, the format itself plus or minus, when it's a normalized number, it is 1 dot. Then comes the Mantissa, right? And then only comes the scale factor. Okay. So now you have the standard format for reference. Now you people tell me what comes next. What comes next?
Can I
Vidya?
go?
Yeah, you can say.
The Mantissa part, ma'am. 0, 0,
The 23
1, 0, 1.
bit which comes after the binary point what you see in the screen, right? So the 23 bit will be starting from here. Whatever is there, it's supposed to come as such after the binary point here. Okay, we have a binary point here. After that, whatever we are having, that will be simply following, right? And after you have written this, all this 23 bit, right? After that, what will come? Next comes the scale factor, and the scale factor is 2 power And here what we are supposed to do? You have to go with the
Minus 127 plus this value.
yeah, whatever is here, the excess representation, excess 127 representation, you find the decimal equivalent of this, and that's supposed to be subtracted from minus 127 to bring it into E, right? This is E dash, but what we require here is E. So to convert, to find out the value of E from E dash, you have to subtract it with minus 127, right? So I think this equivalent is 101,000 will be equal to 40 in decimal, right? And this will be 32, right? Equal to 32, and here this is equal to 8. So when you add up, you get 40. So here you get 40 minus 127. Okay. 40 minus 127. So that means you will be getting something around which will be equal to minus 87. Right? So now when you look at the number, you will be getting, since it's positive, we haven't represented here as plus sign, right? You have one, the binary point, and then the mantissa from here straight away, and into the scale factor 2 power minus 87. Okay, this is how you represent, I mean, you find out the value with the given 32-bit number. You find out what value it is equal to, right? Same way, if this is given, you should be able to come up with this 32-bit representation too. Both ways you should be able to do it, right? 32-bit representation given, you should be able to get the number what its exact value is, and if its exact value is given, you should be able to find out what how do we represent it with the 32-bit number in single precision format. Okay, are you guys clear, or any of you have any doubt?
No doubt.
Okay, so with this single precision representation, you will be able to get exactly 7 decimal digits, maximum of 7 decimal digits you will be able to get, right? So that's the precision you are getting. Okay, your accuracy of the result in case of or the round of error, how much you will be getting, the accumulated percentage of error, all that depends on how many decimal places you are able to express. And in single precision, you can express up to maximum of 7 decimal digits you can express. Okay, so then you can calculate the error based on this, and you can conclude that whether that much percentage of error is acceptable or not in the particular application. And if you find that it's not acceptable, then you go for finding another possibility, right? So when you need, for some cases, you may require more decimal digits, right? In that case, with 32-bit number, you cannot achieve it. So what we do is we go with double precision format, where here instead of a 32-bit number, we go with a 64-bit representation, right? The representation instead of 32-bit, we go with 64-bit, right? And this is how we use the entire 64-bit. To start with, this sign bit is same as your single precision. MSB is used to represent the sign bit, and if it is 0, represents positive number, 1 represents the negative number. Okay, and then the mantissa, here we use 52 bits to represent the mantissa, right? There we use only 23 bits, but here we use 52 bits to represent the mantissa. And also The remaining bits here will be used to represent the exponent. That is 11 bits are used here to represent the exponent, right? 11 bit naturally you will be getting 2048 combinations, but since it's excess representation, only 10 bits range you will be getting. So the range you get will be the excess 1023 exponent representation. Okay, other than the number of bits you use, remaining things are all same for all the floating point numbers, right? Where you find out whether it's positive or negative number based on the sign bit. And then all standard formats are normalized numbers, so you start with 1, right? Then comes your binary place, right? And after the binary place comes your 52-bit mantissa, right? Then we go to the scale factor where base is 2, right? And the scale factor here x is 1023 representation. So whatever the 11-bit combination you get here, that value minus 1023 will give you the exact exponent value. Okay. Can you just take a minute and digest the information? And these things you have to remember. You have no other option, like how many bits in which format, how many bits used for what purpose. Generally, as engineers, I never encourage people to remember things, because you should know how to use it effectively and how to interpret, inference, all those things. Remembering, I'm not much fan of insisting on, but these established things you have no option, you have to remember only. Okay. Clear with this? Shall we proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So naturally your E dash will be, and when you write back from the value to the 64-bit representation, you should remember that whatever you are having here is E. So when you represent there, it's supposed to be E dash. So you have to add 1123 with this, and that value only should come here in the 64-bit representation. Okay, so don't forget it. Don't simply write the E value there, then it is wrong. So your E dash will be ranging from 0 to 2047, totally 2048 combinations, and your E value will be ranging from minus 1022 to plus 1023 will be the range. Okay. So in this double precision, you can get accurate of 16 decimal digits, right? Whereas in single precision, you get only 7 decimal digit. You are able to get it, but here you can represent comfortably 16 digit decimal values in double precision. Okay. So depends on the requirement and the application. You can choose whether you want to go with single precision or you want to go with double precision, all that, right? And the professional way of doing it is actually perform the calculations in double precision, and then finally you give the required result in single precision. So naturally you maintain a 16-bit decimal digit till the end of the calculation, where the cumulative round of error introduced at every stage is less. Okay. And in the final stage alone, you cut off the excess bits and then you round it to a 32-bit number, right? where the accuracy is maintained and percentage of error introduced will be very, very less if you follow this. Okay. So in general, wherever the very professional way of calculation is required, we go with doing all the calculations in double precision format, and finally the end result alone we convert it and give it in the single precision format. Okay. So how do we do it? Because we say if it's 32-bit operation, we say we give all the facilities with 32 bits only. Okay. But here we say that you do with double precision, and then you end result alone you convert it with single precision is what we are saying here. So how is it possible? Using the extended format. Okay, we are not going with the full-fledged double precision system because it naturally increases the cost, right? Your initial cost as well as the design cost, everything will be increased, right? The system cost also increases naturally. So instead of going with a full-fledged double precision system, what we do is we go with an extended format, right? And we add the extra bits whenever needed, do the calculations, and then discard the extra bits at the end of the function, right? So what is the use of going with this extended format? What advantage we get, right? I already listed, already discussed. Anyway, I'm listing it once again here. This reduces the accumulated round of error, because at every stage the error get introduced when we do the truncation or rounding of whatever the method we use, right? We make it a 32-bit, but when we multiply two numbers, we know that the result is going to be 64-bit, right? 232-bit number we multiply, result is going to be 64-bit, but your end result you are supposed to give only 32-bit. That means that much of error is introduced there, right? At every stage when the error is introduced like this, the accumulated error percentage will be very huge at the end, but this extended format naturally reduces the error percentage introduced. Okay, that's one advantage, and naturally enhances the accuracy of your evaluation, right? That too when you have some elementary functions, like these are all sometimes can take a lot of digits, right? So when you make mistake, when we reduce the representation, or when we introduce the percentage of error in representing the basic function itself, then the end result will be producing a lot of error percentage. Okay. So the extended format, we are not going with the full-fledged double precision format if we are using a single precision, right? Instead of that, we use the extended format. We have the additional bits wherever required, right? Do the calculations, and at the end of the function, we just do the rounding instead of doing the rounding or truncation at every stage. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now here comes who specifies this standard. I already told you it's IEEE, right? In this case, for every case, there will be a separate organization to set this standard. Like in case of a medical, there will be a separate entity to specify all these standards. Here in case of a technology, IEEE specifies the standard, right? What they specify, the complete protocol, what should be involved, right? That too in this case, right? One is the way of representing the number. Every company or every manufacturer follows their own way of representation, then it becomes very difficult for usage, right? So one is the standard protocol for representing the number. Once you are able to represent the number, then comes the next requirement, that is performing the basic arithmetic. So when we specify these two things only, it becomes it qualifies to be used as a system in real time, right? If not able to do any one of this function, then there is no need for that system at all. Okay. And other than these basics, some additional operations naturally may be required, right? Like when you do division, a remainder in an operation will be required, right? And square root of a number may not be basic, may not come under the basic 4 arithmetic operations, but which is mostly required one basic operation, right? And most of the case the conversion is required between the external environment and the system performance, because when the user gives the input, you will be giving it in he or she will be giving it in the decimal input, but when the system performs the operation, it performs everything in hexadecimal. Okay, and same way the result given by the system is in hexadecimal, but when you give that value to the external environment, you cannot give that value. For example, when you add 5 and 5, the system result will be giving us A, right, which is a hexadecimal number representation, because all performed in binary. And to use it to the maximum, we go with the hexadecimal, right? So, but when you give the added value as A to the external environment, definitely the common man is not going to understand what it is, right? And he will be thinking that system is not working, some malfunction, all that. Okay. So, if we have the facility of converting the input from decimal to hexadecimal, and then converting the result to hexadecimal, from hexadecimal to decimal before sending it to the user, right? That's very required basic function for any system. Okay, otherwise the user has to do the programming every time when you get the input and when you want to send the output. Okay, so all these things are some additional operations, but still may not come under the basic arithmetic operations, but very much required basic operations, right? And the overflow, whenever the number is not able to be accommodated within the available range, right? Whether it can be overflow in any direction, right? It can be as low as not able to represent, and it can be as high as not able to represent in the higher range. Okay, so all these things has to be accommodated additionally, right? Not these things may not come under the basic arithmetic operations, but very much required basic operations here. Okay. So other than that, there will be exceptions caused while doing the operations, right? Some examples I have given you. When you try to find the root of a number, when the number is given as minus 13, right? Finding the root becomes a problem. Okay, so in this case, when given to the user, the information should be given, or there should be some mechanism inside the design or a program to handle, right? Separate the sign bit, separate the magnitude, process it, and then finally give the result. So that mechanism should be there, or at least an information saying that this cannot be carried out when the user gives the input. That should be there, right? Same way, like divide by 0 error, right? When the user is trying to divide some number by 0, it should be given an indication, right? This cannot be carried out, right? So to handle all this, we require an interrupt service routine, right? Either that interrupt service routine can find out the remedy to do the process, like separating the sign bit magnitude and then process it and then give the result back, or it should have the mechanism at least to inform that the operation cannot be carried out, some error in the representation. Okay, and also have to handle the arithmetic exceptions like overflow and underflow, right? Underflow is when the exponent value goes less than minus 126. We don't have the equivalent binary representation for that. Same way, when the exponent goes above plus 127 also, we don't have the facility to represent that number, right? Available combinations, with available combinations, we will be able to express only within this range. Okay, so when it goes below or goes above this, you won't be able to do it. Okay, that is where when we say that the value is infinity, or the value is basically set to 0. So when we say infinity, the number is not exactly infinity. Okay, the thing is, we are not in a position to express more than that range, so we say it's infinity. That means in the systems we design, there is absolutely no possibility of arriving at infinite result. Okay, we are only saying whenever it overflows, right? And some case you see minus infinity and plus infinity also, right? That again we say that when it underflows or overflows out of that range, we say it's infinity, but actually it's not infinity, right? Now if we have the standard format is go with the normalized number. If we don't have a normalized number, then we cannot represent it with any one of the standard format. It can be even a single precision or can be a double precision format, but we cannot use any of that. So here, if we have a normalized number like this, how do we go with how do you normalize this number? That's the discussion now. When we have a number which is not normalized based on the sign bit, this is a positive 1, right? And it's a not normalized number, so that means it's 0, right? The value is a 0. Before the binary place, the value is 0. If it is a non-zero number, then it's a normalized number. But it's not a normalized number, so it is 0. And then the mantis or whatever we are having is here, right? And the scale factor 2 power x is 127 representation. So whatever we are having here minus 127 will give you the scale factor. Okay, now this is the actual value. Now you do it represent the same number in normalized format. You normalize the number and then try to represent it in a standard format. You take 1 or 2 minutes and then we discuss. So to normalize a number, what's the first step you are supposed to do? Jagan Sai. When I call, he is simply leaving. How is that possible? So how do we normalize the number first? Only then you can go for representing it.
Ma'am, we move the decimal point to the closest significant value.
Yeah, so here it will be moved in which direction, to how many places?
Ma'am, to the right side and 3 places, ma'am.
To the right side?
And 3 places.
Excellent, excellent, Ashwin. So this binary point, right, should be shifted to a non-zero value, and here 1 is the only possible non-zero value, and the first one appears here, right? The first one appears here. So that means this binary point should be shifted only after this, so that it becomes 1.00, I mean 0110, whatever the number follows, right? So when we shift the binary point from here to the to 3 binary bit to the right, okay, then the number becomes plus 1.0110, and whatever the remaining numbers, it will be followed as it, right? And then it becomes 2 power, already 9 is there. Now we shifted 3 positions to the right. So what change will be there in the exponent? 3 position we have shifted to the right. Yes.
Subtract.
Subtract. It will be minus 3 will be there. Who was answering?
Srivatsan.
Srivatsan. So it will be minus 3 will be here, right? So in that case, the exponent becomes 2 power 6. Okay. So now the value will be like plus 1.0, sorry, point is there, 1.0110, whatever is the value after that, it will be followed into 2 power 6 will be the normalized number. Now if you represent this maybe in single precision format, how the 32-bit number will be? MSB will be 0, and then Mantissa will be simply following whatever is from here, right? And then the exponent 127 representation. So when we write here, we cannot write it as 6. It should be added with plus 127. So you will be getting 133, right? So the equivalent of 133 will be here, right? So here comes the value, right? The Mantissa after the binary place is here, right? And sign bit is 0, that's also here. And then the equivalent of XS 127 representation is here, right? It should be equal to 133, right? After adding 127, okay? Getting it? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we just have some fun time. What do you do is note this number. You come up with, take it as the homework. I was planning to do it at the class time, but since you all joined late, we didn't have sufficient time here. Take the number, it's minus 0.75, right? Try to represent this number in both single precision as well as in double precision format when you come for the next session, okay? It's minus 0.75 is the number. You try to convert it into this binary, and then try to normalize, and then represent the number in both single precision as well as in double precision format. Okay, convert, normalize, then you go for representation. Hope I made myself very clear. Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
No, I have doubt in restoring and non-restoring division.
Okay, if any of you have any doubts, we can meet in the afternoon session.
Okay.
So we'll meet. Prashant will be there, and any other of you also have some doubt, you can also join in the afternoon session. Okay. So now have you noted the problem?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we'll discuss the answer in the next session. Only if you complete and come, we'll discuss. Otherwise, I won't. Right? Okay, guys, we'll see you in the next session. Take care. Bye all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.